I did, yeah. I mean, I'll admit I haven't used the cat a ton yet, but I practiced with it the first day just to kind of get a feel for the different ways to configure it. And then it was a work week, so I didn't get a ton of time to mess with it. But the other evening, I was just, as I said on Facebook, I was just practicing some sort of pink to corner pocket shots, and I wanted to get the white screw back into the middle, just thinking, okay, that'll be a good sense of my aim slash cue action. If I can get it into the middle pocket consistently, then I know I'm doing something right. And and the pot was going in, but the white was, about an inch or two away from the jaw every time. I was consistently every time. So I knew because it was so consistent, I figured it's not my cue action. There's something going on here. So I took out the iPad and stuck it up in the corner, and I could see really clearly that my line of aim was off. I was because with the balls and the two pockets, there's a clear line of sight front to back between the corner pocket and the middle pocket. So when your cue is not aligned to it, it's very easy to tell. So I could see, hey, I'm off. So then I got the cat out. And
So very good self-diagnosis, by the way,
thank
because
you.
that's the only way to tell. Even
Yeah,
with a mirror, possibly not that easy. iPad, put it on a tripod, play it back.
yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay,
And I
then.
could see it. I could really see it. So I got the cat out, and I started to. I put the stiffer ones on. The little yolks. I put the stiffer ones on because they're you can put the cue in it and leave it there and it won't fall out. So I put that one on, and then I lined the whole thing up so I could see it was definitely all in a straight line. And then I got down on the shot where I normally put the cue, and it was off. I was thinking that's not going to pot. It's definitely off. But then I got back and I looked again and said, no, that's dead straight. So clearly my line of aim is off. So before I watched some of your videos, I had been just assuming that the only option you had was this, right? Just effectively seeing where it was straight. But after watching your video where you had said you can turn your head too, right?
Oh,
Um, which I'd never consciously seen anybody do that. Like I'm sure players do it, but I'd never really noticed it. And until you said it, I didn't even know that
yeah. Or
was.
you can also twist as well.
But that's kind of what I mean, yeah. So I found that basically it was straight. I thought it was straight on this part of my chin with my head dead straight. In fact, my straight line of aim is on this side of my chin with my head turned that way.
Interesting. So that's a bit like John Higgins.
Is
Uh,
that right?
Although, no, you're left-handed, so
No,
a
I'm
little
not.
bit
I'm
different.
right-handed.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yes.
right-handed. I'm not
Uh,
left-handed.
so why do I think you're left-handed?
Don't know, but I'm not. Yeah.
Okay. Must
Yeah.
have been must have helicoptered in another training session somehow
Must
mentally.
have. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So yeah, that's as John Higgins because he looks slightly to that side. So yeah, you've got tilting, you've got
Yes.
twisting, and then
Yeah.
you've got sliding.
Yeah.
But that's great that you found that.
Yeah.
And then what? So you had the cue fixed on a line of aim in the cat in the strong
Yes.
legs,
Yes.
holding the cue in position on a straight pot with your own cue,
Yes.
and then you basically looked at those moving options and found a position where it looked dead on. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I just kept moving my head side to side, like doing this, and then I found I went, oh, that's dead straight. So I stood up from the shot, looked, saw it's the way you stand back, stood up, said, yeah, I can see the whole thing is straight, and then came straight down into that spot and could see it was dead straight. So then I came back up and I did the same again in my old position, and saw, oh yeah, I'm definitely off. So
Very
um,
interesting.
so then I played for about an hour with that, and it was amazing the difference. When you have a good day versus a bad day, and your confidence. When you don't even almost have to aim. you just get down on the shot and you already know you're going to get it. You ever have one of those days where, and then you have the opposite. You have those days where you have to every shot's like hard work. Well, no, I still used the routine and I still did the technique, but they were going straight down the center, including difficult blacks and difficult pinks that I normally really struggle with.
Now, this is
So it was
interesting
amazing.
because so you diagnosed or you observed something in your game, an
Hmm.
error, very accurately. You then diagnosed it very accurately, and
Yeah.
then you've got a tool in your hands that can deal with your prescription to find the solution, which you did.
Hmm.
Now, what I'm interested in is very often if a player is in their wrong vision center,
Hmm.
then their cueing will often be compensating for that slightly wrong aiming.
Right.
What I'm saying is, what I'm asking is, or interested in is, was there residue of any habit like that or any compensation tendency in your cueing? And did you?
Yeah. Yeah. So on black balls, I did notice it, and I had to work. The last couple of days, I had to work it out of me. On black balls where it's like quarter ball, let's say, um, I I realized that I was sort of, when I was doing all those black balls, I would always, turn a little bit, if you know what I mean. On doing it, um, uh, I was missing. So I basically just tried to go, okay, look, focus on a very, very straight cue action. And it made a world of it. The other difference it made, actually, interestingly, is my positional play improved a bit too, because my line of aim was off. I was always wondering, why is the ball not going exactly where I think it's going to go? And it was obviously because I was aiming it to where I thought I was straight. The ball was still going in, but with a pocket, you know
Margin.
there's a margin of error there where the ball will still go in, but the white will end up in quite a different spot on the table. Um, so I was noticing some positional play improving as a result of it as well. So
Very
so all
interesting.
in all, it was
Again,
yeah, it was. That's why I felt like I had to go on Facebook because it was really a eureka moment for me. It was like a massive. I said, "Oh my god!" I've been working on um, technique and cue action for weeks and weeks and weeks. Um, and it was that moment that I realized that that it's not my cue action. It's my line of aim. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um,
and this is the common misdiagnosis that
yeah.
people assume that they will almost never consider that their eye alignment is wrong. They'll either
Hmm.
diagnose as a cueing error, but
Yeah.
more often than not, they'll assume their cueing is perfect. Because how difficult can it be to push a silly piece of wood in a straight line?
Yeah.
Or number two, that so they will generally misdiagnose that aiming angle recognition is a
Yeah.
problem,
Hmm.
not our alignment. But going back to when you then were working on the straight cueing action, how long did it take to transition, so to speak, from a compensatory delivery to a straight delivery that rewarded your correct eye alignment and correct aiming?
I'm not sure that I mean, on the majority of shots, I don't. At least I don't know. I'd have to. I don't know, but I don't think I was compensating. Like I say, I think it was fractionally off, such that the ball would still go in,
Okay,
but
so
it
you
would
got
take.
away with it, so you didn't have too much of a
Yeah,
compensation.
that's right. I mean, most of the compensations were on severe angles, like quarter balls or eight. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
But I think in regular play, I don't think I was compensating too much because,
all right.
like, as I noticed, I think I'm aiming dead straight in the middle of the pocket, but it would still go in, but it'd be maybe an eighth of an inch off one side or another. And before, where I didn't really understand the value of making sure that the ball goes exactly where you intend.
For
Um,
positional purposes.
yeah, I didn't put a lot of stock or weight in it. I just kind of went, well, it went in, so nothing much to fix. But
Yeah.
as part of trying to fix my cue action, because I really wanted to make sure I had straight cue action, especially for long shots. So as part of trying to fix my cue action, and that's where I created that drill. But I realized that I was consistently hitting the same spot in error, and I thought to myself, that's just weird. It's something, So anyway, it turned out my line of aim was significantly. When I say, I don't think my line of aim was significantly off, but where the right place to place my cue was way different in my face than I would have expected.
That's interesting because often a player being slightly off in their vision center can give a big displacement of potting angle.
Yeah.
But everyone's different, and you found,
Yeah.
fortunately for your cueing, that or your cueing transition to straight, that your aim wasn't that far off, and then it was easy to transition into a straight delivery.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot where players get frustrated when they're missing long blues, and you're confirming here and now that it is physically impossible to have wrong vision center or eye alignment, deliver the cue straight, and pop those long blues center pocket. It is impossible.
Yeah.
So you have to have both the eye alignment and the straight cueing.
Yeah. And that was the thing. My long balls have always been pretty weak. Because the margin of error increases the larger the distance, right? So I'd always chalked up. In fact, especially after that first set of videos I created with you, where I was jumping. I remember my cue was going sideways on the long shots, whereas I definitely don't do that, or didn't do that on the short shots. So I was chalking it up to my longer shots. My cue action was off. I'd always assumed my line aim was right, but it was my cue action that was off. But I tried a lot of long shots after I fixed my line of aim, and between that and having already been working with you on keeping my on the stronger and longer shots still going straight, the number of long shots that were going in increased a lot. Now I still miss some, of course, but as we all do, but certainly more were going in than had been. Oh, and the other thing that was happening was, before on a long pot, I'd, let's say, set it up, the red would go in and the white would move maybe a little bit one side or another.
Yeah.
Whereas, after I fixed all that, it was literally stopping exactly where.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? So.
The shot that comes to mind is, I don't know if you remember Alex Higgins. I think it was the 136 he made to win the 82 World Final. So he's 17-16 up, and he had a long red like that where the white just stopped dead and then cleared up with a 136 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that's so satisfying to players to be center pocket, stopping it dead.
Yeah.
And that's a good reference in its own right, being able to stop it dead, not trundle it forward to replace the position of the object ball or screw it back an inch.
Yeah.
Getting a dead stop is a great confidence builder.
Yeah. And that was the thing. The last few days, my confidence has increased a lot as I'm getting down on the shots. Some shots, especially the further into a break I'd get, the more sort of nervous I'd become, whereas like the other day I played for about 2 hours, and I had two 80s and a 75 or something within a space of an hour. So whereas before I might get one in the hour, if that. Do you know what I mean? So it was making a big difference.
Great. And just one other question I've got there, which was about the reason why you were originally elected to place the chin in the position you were placing it. Was it anything to do with the dominant eye theory?
It was, yeah. Yeah, so
explain that.
So I knew my right eye was dominant,
So you mean when you do that test and then
Yes,
bring the hand to the
yes.
face, you get right eye. Okay.
Yeah, I knew my right eye was dominant. Now,
Okay.
originally, back in the bygone days when I first started playing, I just put my cue bang in the middle, assumed
Okay.
that was what you're supposed to
Yeah.
do, and
Because
I did
Steve
that.
Davis did it.
Right, and yes, exactly. And of course, back then there was no collateral to know. There was nothing, other than maybe the Joe Davis book way back in the day. There was nothing really, no frame of reference for us, right? So I played that way for years. Um, but more recently, I looked up that dominant eye thing, and so I started to move the cue slightly to this chin because this is a dominant eye, and I thought, right, well, let me put it closer to my dominant eye. And I had done a couple of tests that way. In fact, I think I talked to you about it last time. But I obviously didn't do it precise enough. I didn't have the cat for one, and I didn't video myself. I just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So between the cat and videoing, I think you need to stand back. You can't self-diagnose without an external
You
frame
can't.
reference.
It's impossible.
So, so I thought whatever I'd done, I thought I had done it right. And it definitely was marginally better. I saw an improvement when I went from center of my chin to the right of
Okay.
my chin. But the thing is going to the left of my chin, which you would think is to my weaker eye, but because I'm also turning my head, I think what's happening is the dominant eye is still, well, by turning my head, is pulling the cue back to my dominant eye. And maybe, I don't know, my brain is
Well,
tuning
no,
it
you're
to the eye or something.
favouring the left eye, so the left eye is getting more data.
Hmm.
But have you done an eye strength test where you read small print from different distances? And if
Yeah.
so, are both eyes the same or different?
They're like 0.25 difference between them.
Which
I
is
think I,
stronger?
I think my left might be stronger, but
Yeah.
my right is more dominant.
Now that's interesting because 99% of people out there assume that the dominant eye is the stronger eye.
Right.
Now you're by doing this test, by diagnosing that you're wrong, and doing the test which allows no escape, it forces the brain to show us the correct position.
Yeah.
I mean, you're living proof that the brain can select not the dominant eye, but the
Yeah.
stronger eye. And I've seen a player select an eye that, so I think they had right eye was dominant and also stronger, and they still selected left eye.
Hmm. It's weird.
So the brain has to also stitch the 3D images together to view your shot, and there's also physical conditions and comfort involved as well that goes to making up the decision. And it can have issues with that binocular vision where it stitches the images together to create the 3D shot in the brain, because we see with the brain, not the lenses, which
Right.
are our eyes. And also, I've seen players with, well, Steve Davis is an example, dead centre, head pointing straight forward.
Mm.
As far as I know, both his eyes are the same strength. He's obviously got one which is dominant,
Hmm.
but the cue is central.
Hmm.
So if the dominant eye theory is correct, then every professional in the game would either be cueing under this eye or this eye 100%.
Yeah.
But they aren't, therefore the dominant eye theory is wrong.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm certainly living proof of it. And it was really surprising. I was pretty shocked. That's why I felt I had to go on Facebook and say it because,
Great.
I kind of felt like, hey, if I'm doing it, I'm sure there's many others out there that are doing it
There
too.
are.
So, you know,
There are.
yeah.
But that's just a terrific anecdote, and thanks for sharing it on
Hmm.
Facebook. But great to help you through that process.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good.
Hi, this is Nick Barrow, and welcome to the world exclusive premiere of my Cue Action Trainer. If I deliver the cue straight, and the idea is with the cue actions just to make sure the cue's moving straight. Then when you feel it's moving straight, then pull the trigger.